If we're traveling at a constant rate of speed, then the distance we travel is the rate we're traveling at, like 30 miles per hour, multiplied by the time we travel at that rate. So this tells us how far we travel. But our question is asking for which route is the quickest, so we want to know something about time. So if you just do the opposite of times r, if you divide r from both sides, then that cancels out on the right, and you have t equals d divided by r. We can make an equation for time. And so when we do these, when we check out these different routes, we'll want to calculate the time at one speed plus the time at another speed. So here's the first route. We're traveling at, here we want to do the time spent driving at 45 miles per hour because they said they're getting slowed down from the usual rate. And then we want the time spent driving at 25 miles per hour. And then that will be the complete trip. We'll compare that to the time for Route 2. So time spent driving Route 1, to calculate time, we take the distance divided by the rate. So the distance is 10 miles, it says. It used to be 65 miles per hour. It's slowed down to 45 miles an hour. So it's 10 miles, and the rate, R, is 45. And the units here are going to be hours, and that's because you've got miles divided by miles per hour. The miles units cancel, and you would flip and multiply the fraction with hours in the bottom down here. That gives you hours for units. Then time spent driving at 25 miles per hour, they do this for 2 miles at 25 miles per hour. So that's hours again. So we could use decimals to approximate. 10 divided by 45 is 0.2 repeating. So that little bar means it's repeating. And then 2 divided by 25, you can punch that in a calculator, but that's 0.08. If we add those together, that's 0.302 repeating hours. And if you don't want that in terms of hours, that's kind of a weird hour. That's like a third of an hour, right? You could take your calculator and you can multiply this by the number of minutes in an hour. So it's about 18.13 minutes. 18 and 13 hundredths of a minute. That's how long it takes on Route 1 with this detour. So we want to compare that to Route 2. And same type of thing, except we're doing 55 miles per hour for 11 miles. So the distance is 11 and the rate is 55. And we want to add that. This calculates how much time we spent doing that part of the journey. And then we've got 30 miles per hour for 3 miles. So distance divided by the rate. And so let's see, that's divide the top and the bottom by 11. That's 1/5. So that's 0.2 for the first fraction. Divide the top and bottom by 3, so that's 1/10. So that's 0.1 for the second fraction. So 0.3. So look, we can directly compare them. This one is a little shorter. The detour is a little bit shorter, but it's so close. It's by 2 thousandths of an hour, which would be 0.002. Looks like the first one is 0.13 minutes slower. So that's about 8 seconds slower, I think, if I've done my math right there. That's negligible. They're both okay to, do whichever one you want. Whichever one is nicer looking, I guess, at this point. But at least you can see the math behind calculating, which one's going to be a little bit quicker.